We've seen some amazing things, but that, my friends, is something we've never seen.
Brandon Cruz wants advice.
Brandon Cruz wants advice.
Brandon wants advice.
Brandon Cruz wants advice. You just locked yourself into the playoffs.
Nice.
Got it.
Talk with old Brandon Cruz wants advice.
Completely speechless, to say the least.
Man, I am honestly so baffled by that decision. Brandon Cruz wants advice. It's Brandon wants advice.
Green flag in the air. Brandon Cruz wants advice to the front.
It's the Brandon Cruz Daily Fantasy Podcast, where I go look at low-owned plays and strategies specifically designed for GPPs. This is a show for people who are already informed on daily fantasy sports, how these contests operate. If you have any questions related to NASCAR that isn't a stupid question, feel free to send it my way on Twitter at BrandonCruzDFS. Most importantly, take everything you hear with a grain of salt and use your best judgment when making entries. Additionally, if you have a gambling addiction, that's not my problem. Check your sensitive feelings at the door. How are you guys doing? We are talking about the NASCAR Series race at Dover, the Pro Invitational Series, whatever you want to call it. I'm sure they got some name, the Advil, 75 or whatever. Either way, we're talking about the Dover iRacing race here. One of the last iRacing events that we might actually do, since we're going to go back racing in this month on the 17th, and then we got a crazy amount of races coming up. I'm looking forward to it. I'm happy to have all that back. If you look on your screen, you might see a different thing. It's not just my red banner. There's something else that says go to racefortheprize.com to get the fancy NASCAR spreadsheet. What is that? Brandon, you sold out? You freaking commie? No, Toby in Toledo, I did not sell out. For what it's worth, I've actually turned down a few offers and ads because I either don't believe in the product or I just think it would hurt my brand, my shitty 12-year-old comedic brand. But a lot of you guys already know that I actually use this spreadsheet for a lot of my data, or actually for all my data. I mean, that's what I get. That's what I get all of the data in one place for. It helps me make my lineups. Either way, I've been using this sheet for a long time, and it's a product I already use. A situation came up to where both parties benefited from this. First off, it's helped me in the past. I want it to help other people, and then it helps Pierce out. It sends people over there, so please go check it out. I promise this is not some sketchy sheet. This is not some free lineup thing on Twitter that gives you generic data. What does this have on it? I promise I'll get to the real meat and potatoes of this episode later, but please listen to this. So what is in this fantasy NASCAR spreadsheet that I use and that I've won with? I don't like to throw around how much I make here and there, but in this situation I'm going to, because it makes this sheet look very nice. So in the 4 races, actually 4 weekends, I'm not going to count the Xfinity and Truck Series because he has sheets for those as well, but I'm just counting the Cup Series. Okay, from Daytona to Phoenix, I made just under $3,100 in a month, using this sheet. That's what I use. This is what I use to take down, or at least tie the GPPs in Auto Club to do very well at Phoenix. I was doing very well until that late race caution at Las Vegas, and that's just for the Cup Series. This sheet is a absolute lifesaver, and I'm not just saying that. I'm not being paid to say that. Look, I've worked retail ever since I moved to Lubbock to be with the love of my life, my girlfriend here, but there's no good, automotive places here. I was making more in retail than I did working, shitty tire changing places, mechanic. It was a mess over here in Lubbock, so I was working retail. I quit my job, man. I didn't want to fucking work retail with all of this, coronavirus bullshit going on. And that money I made in February when NASCAR came around helps me not have to worry about working right now, So I'm not just like pulling your leg here. This isn't some random ad. I mean, this sheet has helped me actually enjoy life right now when a lot of people are unemployed, a lot of people are tight on money. The money I want to use in this sheet is helping me tremendously right now. So what does this have in it? It has the practice data. You got short, long run averages, lap by lap data, his projections. Pierce puts his own projections in there. If you don't like it, if he's like, man, I don't like your projection for Alex Bowman this week, you can go in there and change it, and it'll update all across the site for it, or all across the sheet for it. It's got an optimizer, a mass entry lineup builder that helps you make 150 lineups. Calculates 2 different ones. He has a light lineup generator and a heavy one. The heavy one just calculates more numbers and yada yada yada. There, he makes notes, things that things that he thinks you should know, either from practice, what he's hearing from other people in the industry, whatever he thinks. He's going to put notes in there. Historical data, how people did in the past optimal lineups, I understand that we won't have a whole lot of practice, and we might not be qualifying for races in a more traditional sense at the end of this month, but we're going to get back to real racing at some point. I don't think we're going to be dealing with this, all the way when we get to the chase. We're going to still do practices and all that type of stuff. But his May package right now gives you 8 sheets for the Darlington races, for the Charlotte races, and for the Martinsville, Bristol, Atlanta, whatever the to be determined race on the 31st of May this month. So that's 8 sheets. And his price is only $20. Guys, you got to hop on this. This is the best bang for the buck there is. I'm not pulling your leg. I'm not forcing you to say this. Look, I mean, it's already helped me change my life. You got to listen, I mean, he's not giving you lineups. You got to do the work here. But this is the tool that I use. And I can't vouch for this enough. You got to go check it out. So please do at least check out his site. See if you think it's right for you. But listen, that's what I use. It's helped me out so far. And if you join right now, he'll throw in the iRacing spreadsheet for Dover and Martinsville. Okay, so hey, there you go. If you want to look at it that way, that's 10 sheets, for $20 this month. I mean, absolute steal, best price in the industry. I don't know why you wouldn't go here. Let's talk about the Dover race here. iRacing has been an up and down progress for me so far this year. The first race at Homestead, went against my gut feeling, faded a lot of the favorites, didn't work out. And the way, I mean, like I said in the beginning of this is a show specifically designed for GPPs. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't give a shit about cash. I don't give a shit about, barely cash in a GPP. I'm trying to take down the GPPs like I did in Auto Club, or like I did very well in Phoenix, okay? And the way I do that is I hedge ownership. I make lineups that run a certain way, I enter a lot of lineups, okay? And you can do it one of two ways. You can spread your lineups and ownership out, the 150 ways to where you're going to have one lineup that does pretty well. You're going to have some that just suck, that are DOA, dead on arrival, deader than Dale at Halifax Medical Center before the race even starts, okay? Or you can take it, the way that I tend to do it is I tend to aim all my lineups in the same relative way, So, for example, this last week at Talladega, I know I said I wouldn't play Gordon, but he ended up qualifying pretty bad. His ownership was low, way lower than I expected. I think he had about 8.4% ownership in the $10 GPP on DraftKings. And who else had a low ownership compared to who he was around? It was Denny Hamlin. I think Denny Hamlin was at like 25 or 26, whereas Byron was at 60, whereas the other guy who's qualified in the back, they were near 40%. So I hedged my ownership last week and built lineups around the ownership that Gordon and Hamlin did. Obviously, that did not work out. I don't gotta be a fucking genius to tell you that. That didn't work out there. But it was working very well until, Denny Hamlin's daughter decided to troll him and turn off his screen, or Gordon ended up being... Either way, I make these videos, they're podcast. I call them podcast videos. Either way, I call it, so I make these so I know, so I can go back, look and see how I was thinking, look at a way that I think is a possible way to win a GPP, and yada yada yada. So don't dislike this video because it gave you bad ideas. Come on. There's people on Twitter that are telling you safer plays for quote unquote cash. This is not the place for that. I'm here to give you ideas or give you a way to take down GPP or try and talk myself into doing a GPP. Regardless, I've gone against the grain pretty much every iRacing race so far, thinking that something's going to happen. It just doesn't go my way. And when you play GPPs, when you play like I do, you're going to have stretches like that. This week at Dover, I'm not going to get that creative. I'm going to go back to playing who I think, who my gut feelings are. And I got some interesting plays. You'll hear those in a second. But we're not going to go as drastic as my Talladega idea or my Richmond idea. Well, either way. So, looking into this week, Dover, what do these guys have to deal with on the iRacing service? I imagine their setup is really, really tight. Just from seeing how people are driving, they keep getting to the wall out of turns 2 and out of turn 4. This is a very, very tight track on the sim, as it is in real life. I imagine it's going to be Probably not as bad as Bristol, but probably close to that. You're going to have some guy hitting the wall out of a corner and stacking up that outside lane if they're 2x2, or he's going to come down the track and whack whoever's below him if they're side by side, or if they're just in a line, they're just going to all pile into him when he hits the wall. So I imagine there's going to be some wrecks, some mayhem. Like I said, not as many wrecks as Bristol, but it's going to be somewhere around there. You're going to want guys who are fast, who are going to avoid those accidents. People like the people who have been doing well this entire season, at least on iRacing so far. So like William Byron, Timmy Hill, Smithley, Hamlin, let's see, Parker Kligerman, he's safe. Landon Castle, they're safe. You want to target those types of guys who are going to qualify up in the front, miss the wrecks, and know what they're doing. I'm not going to really yap about iRacing too much. I've done that every video so far. We're going to get right into the practice data. So Wednesday is the earliest I started looking at practice. I think anything before really doesn't matter because that's, over 72 hours away from the race. And people are going to drastically improve. Like if you look, because they practice all the way from Monday to Saturday, or to Sunday really before the race. But, Monday might be the first time someone's at the track. That's just throwaway data. That's stupid. I don't need that type of stuff. So focusing on practice on Wednesday. I checked this in the morning of Wednesday. This was 4 hours into a 24-hour session, and sadly, because iRacing had an update on Thursday morning, I was not able to hop back in and see if anybody did any more laps, if anybody else joined in this session, but I do have the data for Thursday and Friday and Saturday. So this is all I have for Wednesday because I wasn't able to get anything else. But the top of the chart, it went Denny Hamlin, Timmy Hill, Garrett Smithley, Corey LaJoie, Alex Bowman, Brennan Poole, Michael McDowell, and Ty Dillon. Those are the only guys who did a lap here. The field was separated by about 5/10. Okay, Denny Hamlin did a 22.79. Oh, no, my bad. That's a 2. The field was separated by about a 10th and a half. I thought that was a 7. I can't even read my own fucking writing. Denny Hamlin did a 22.7. Did a 22.2. Oh, he did a 1. That's a 1. I'm so stupid. Denny Hamlin did a 22.19. Ty Dillon, the slowest car out of these guys, did a 22.351. Okay, so everybody's within those 2/10 pretty much. So it's not as drastic as as like Richmond, where if someone blows a corner, they're going to be like 3/10 slower. And this is a pretty easy track. I mean, it is difficult with tire wear and all that type of stuff, but most guys are the field's going to run around the same speed on the first start of the sessions or of the runs. The main thing I just want to take away from here are the laps that people ran. So Denny Hamlin did 43 laps, had 18 incidents. Timmy Hill did 6 laps, 0 incidents. Smithley did 27 laps, 20 incidents. LaJoie did 149 laps with 63 incidents. Alex Bowman did 27 laps with 20 incidents. Brennan Poole, 47 laps, 12 incidents. Michael McDowell, 14 laps, 6 incidents. And Ty Dillon, 39 laps and 30 incidents. That's all the data we have for Wednesday. Now, we're looking at Thursday's data. This is combining my early morning check and my late day check before the session closed, so I'm not going to be confusing anybody. So this is how the charts went at the end of those practices. Timmy Hill, Michael McDowell, J.J. Gailey, Chad Fitcham, Bobby Labonte, Corey LaJoie, Kevin Harvick, Ty Dillon, Joey Gase, Jimmy Johnson, and Regan Smith. So in this session, Timmy Hill did a 22.121, McDowell at 22.217, Yaley a 22.262, Chad Fitcham a 22.263, Bobby Labonte a 22.289, Corey LaJoie 22.328, Harvick 22.362, Ty Dillon a 22.386, Joey Gase a 22.397, Jimmy Johnson a 22.410, Regan Smith a 27.437. Regan Smith obviously off the track. I think this is the first time on the track. That's why it's so drastically slow. I'm not too concerned about that right now because he makes up for it later. But this, like I said, this is why I don't look at data on Monday for Regan Smith. This is his first time on the track. He is off pace by about 3 or 4 seconds. That's just because I don't think he's been on the sim yet. So we're going to really throw that away. Timmy Hill did 16 laps, 0 incidents. McDowell, 113 laps, 38 incidents. J.J. Gailey, 196 laps, 50 incidents. Chad Fitchum, 120 laps, 57 instants. Bobby Labonte, 119 laps, 25 instants. Corey LaJoy, 109 laps, 54 incidents. Kevin Harvick, 70 laps, 14 incidents. Ty Dillon, 29 laps, 20 incidents. Joey Gaze, 29 laps as well, but 10 incidents. Jimmy Johnson, 26 laps, 9 incidents. And Regan Smith, 35 laps, 8 incidents. That's how the Thursday practices went. So how many guys actually ran practice between Wednesday and Thursday? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 unique drivers have done practices between the two sessions. Not looking that good right now. Yet again, giving us evidence to support that people don't really care about this type of stuff. Damn it, we're 15 minutes into this. I'm trying to make it shorter. Friday speeds, top of the charts. Hamlin at a 21.926, but he only ran 2 laps in this whole practice session. Then you had Eric Almirola with a 22.147 after 195 laps and 94 instants. Then you had William Byron with a 22.160 with 100 laps. Saturday morning with 0 incidents. Garrett Smithley with a 22.188 with 85 laps, 16 instants. Christopher Bell, 22.262, 31 laps, 6 incidents. Michael McDowell, 22.266, 23 laps, 10 incidents. Bobby Labonte ran 46, not 46. He ran 73 laps, 22.268. Didn't write down his incident points there, sadly. Brad Keselowski, 42 laps, 38 incidents with a 22.321. Kyle Busch, 32 laps, 26 incidents with a 22.338. Regan Smith, 23 laps, 2 incidents, on par with the field this time around with a 22.365. Joey Gaze, 5 laps, 9 incidents, 22.418. Kevin Harvick, 6 laps, 22.485. That was the end of Friday's speeds between the morning or the late evening check that I did at midnight and when I checked it this morning and Saturday morning before the session closed there. Now, what are my main notes here? Smithley is looking fast, okay? Tire fall off is pretty huge at this track. We're seeing people lose around, let me see here. We're seeing people lose around, 3/10 to 4/10 over 20, 25 lap runs, 30 lap runs. It's pretty heavy here. A lot of the guys at the end of their runs or their practice races that I was watching streams, they had very, very low tire percentages left. So what that means is that they are very close to blowing tires in the sim this weekend because they're just the way the setup that they're running. It's really, really abrasive. They're probably yanking it into the corners, just shoving the gas. That's something we got to keep in mind. If it stays green, which I don't think it will, but if it stays green, we got to worry about people blowing tires that don't know what they're doing. People that I think would do that would probably be like Jimmy Johnson, Ty Dillon, Castle to an extent, although Castle's done over 1,100 laps this weekend, so I don't think that's going to happen. But that's something else we got to think about. Looking at, did I talk about Eric Almirola? I think I did, right? Yeah, Eric Almirola. I'm looking at my notes that I want to bring up here. A guy that I really, really like this weekend is Eric Almirola. I mean, he is fast. I mean, he's almost a 10th. Sometimes he's been 2/10 faster than other people on the first 3 to 4 laps of a run. I imagine the tire fall off is going to be horrible for him. But if he can qualify up in the front, I really, really like Eric Almirola this weekend. I haven't seen him really do anything over a 15-lap run. But Eric Almirola at a really cheap price. What is he at? Eric Almirola is $5,300 this weekend. I'm in love with Eric Almirola. I'm probably going to own way too much of him this weekend compared to the field. Ryan Preece, starting in the back. If he gets out of his own way, he should do well. I don't know if he's going to do that. He threw it away at Richmond. He did a lot of practice time at Richmond, but didn't do actual races. Got passed by William Byron. Ended up going through the field. Then they ended up being wrecked or getting into a wreck with Matt DiBenedetto, and then Matt DiBenedetto retaliated, took them both out of the race. So that was disappointing there. So yet again, if Priest can get out of his own way, he should do well. And then another thing that we have to think about, which is why I think a lot of people didn't show up for the final practice race today, and the reason we don't see a whole lot of people practicing other than on Sunday mornings, is that drivers are probably starting to focus on real-life racing again. I believe the ban on simulation testing, which is through the manufacturer, not iRacing, so like, Hendrick Motorsports, they have their own simulation. I believe NASCAR's ban on simulation testing ends on the 4th, I believe, so that's Monday. I imagine that everybody's going to be shifting their priority to Darlington, since we're going to own it by owner points. Which, side note here, why is everybody freaking out about knowing what the lineup is going to be like 2 weeks out? Like, with salaries and everything? Like, we do that with the NFL season. This last year, DraftKings and FanDuel released the salaries for the NFL season like a month and a half out for week 1. Like, I don't see the big fuss there. Anyway, I think a lot of people, or a lot of teams, are going to be focusing on Darlington because, there's no practice. They're not going to qualify. They're just going to show up and race. They can't afford to show up with a bad car that is too low, that's scraping against that track. They don't want to tear up a car. They don't know if this might be the only race that they do. Let's say something bad happens after this race. This might be the only NASCAR race we get in for like another month or something. So these guys don't want to show up to Darlington, with looking ill-prepared, to put it bluntly. Let's see, like I said, Castle has done nearly 1,100 laps this week. Looking at the lineup construction, luckily DraftKings actually used their brain, and they were able to make everybody be too expensive to where you can't fit like the pre-race optimal lineup in, to where you put like all 3 guys in the back, plus William Byron, plus another guy. Like, you can't do that. You don't have enough salary to do that this weekend. The way that I'm probably going to approach this weekend is focusing my ownership on Corey LaJoie, just because he's the cheapest of the 3 guys in the back. And I think Byron, unless Byron wins or he finishes in the top 5, that might be pretty difficult paying off that $1,300 price tag. I don't think he starts on pole, and I don't think he wins. I really don't. So I don't think I'm going to play Byron a whole lot. I'd much rather go with Landon Castle. I'd much rather go with Garrett Smithley. I'd much rather go with Denny Hamlin for a quote-unquote dominator. So I don't know if you want to play William Byron. Who's the other guy? Priest is starting in the back as well. Like I said, he's going to start in the back. He's going to be chalk. If he gets in his own way, wrecks, which he shouldn't. I mean, the dude should use his brain, and he shouldn't do anything stupid. But I like Corey LaJoie at his price, starting the same way as those guys are. I'd much rather pay up or pay for a guy that I think is going to probably win the race or do well than chasing Priest and all those guys. So the way that I'd probably construct my lineups this week is I'm probably just going to go with safe plays, guys that I don't think are going to overstep their boundary. Look at guys who have finished well at Richmond, at Bristol, guys like Parker Kligerman, guys like Denny Hamlin, Timmy Hill, William Byron, yes, although he is expensive, Tyler Reddick, a guy that most people might not look at, but he finished 8th at Bristol, 12th at Richmond. Not bad at all. Bobby Labonte, Mr. Safe. Everybody knows he's been safe this whole time. Chastain, if he qualifies far enough back, could be in play. And then also, Chad Fitchum. I like him a lot too. I haven't seen him practice a whole lot, but his price tag at $5,100, he should start in the back. No one's going to own him. Same with J.J. Yaley, a guy who did a lot of practice laps in this session earlier in the week. As I said, let me just see how many he did. J.J. Yaley he did 196 laps. That's something I want to see for someone who's $5,000 even. And then Regan Smith, I haven't seen a whole lot of laps out of Regan Smith, but he's so cheap, man. I mean, he's the best value on this. A lot of the lineups that I've been messing around with end up having Regan Smith or Chad Fitchup in them, and then pairing that with Eric Almirola, you got a pretty good lineup right there. I think that's going to end it here. I'm not sure what I'm going to do for NASCAR's return. I don't know if I'm going to be making a lot of videos on my channel or if I'm going to be doing it for DFS Tavern. And I don't know if they're going to be pre-recorded, if they're going to be live shows. I'm not sure. It's going to be wild. We have a race pretty much every day for like 2 weeks, okay? So, I mean, I'm in love with that idea, but I don't know how I'm really going to focus on the content. I'm sure I'll figure out a way. We'll get there. I got 2 weeks to think about it. That's about it for Dover. So this is 1 week that I'm not gonna try. I'm not gonna be too stupid. I'm gonna just try and play guys that are safe. Hopefully, get through a week without looking stupid or doing bad plays. But those are the drivers that I'm gonna focus on. The guys that I mentioned there. So thank you for listening. Remember, check out the sheet that won me a lot of money. That helped me relax in this time of need, in this time of uncertainty with the coronavirus and all that type of stuff. RaceWithThePrize.com. Get the sheet that I'm using. I guarantee you it's the best sheet out there. I'm not just saying that. It has everything you want, everything you probably search for off of Racing Reference, off of random parts of practices, whatever it is, whatever you're looking for, the data's in there. It all in one place. It's absolutely a godsend. I absolutely love it. Go check it out. Only $20 for the month of May. I don't see why you wouldn't do that. And best of luck in the race tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. I kind of did better this weekend. We're at 27 minutes instead of 37, so we're making improvement there. I will talk to you guys later. Best of luck, and peace out. Home skillets.